real steady. Glass break plug.
Welcome to another episode of a Sin Room Conversation where we talk about real stories, transition, transformation. I am so excited today to welcome this guest. She is here, someone that I've known almost 20 years. She is an amazing woman. I am inspired by her. She is a fashionista. We have a relationship that our families are very close. We sit down for dinners. We've gone out to eat. We worship together, and even our children went to the same school. But one thing is that her name is very special. It's a name that my sister had, and my sister lost her life almost 30 years ago. And she walked into my life, and not only does they share the same name, but the actual birth year. So it is no coincidence that she has become one of my best and dearest friends. I'd like to welcome to the show none other than Miss Lillie McGregory.
Well, thank you for welcoming me.
Well, you know what? You're such an amazing person. I mean, all the years that I've had a chance to know you, you simply amaze me. And I always say, and I think she doesn't have a problem with me sharing her age. She is 74. And at the age of 69, she decided to go into another career after retiring. So as you guys know, ladies and gents, this show is about telling fabulous stories about women over 50 because we are simply amazing. And so I like to allow Miss Lillie, and she's going to tell you too how her name is Miss Jan and Miss Lillie, similar to mine being Emma and Renee. So tell us just a little bit about you. Let's start off with that. Like, where do you want to start? I mean, you have such a fabulous life. If you want to start, maybe 20 years ago, that's when I met you.
That would
you
be
were
fine.
working, and shortly after that, a few years, you ended up retiring, and then all of this happened. So, tell us about you.
Well, I really don't know where to begin because I think I'm going to stay with the fact that when I met you, we decided to go to a different church. And I think this church had only been in this location for a few months, maybe. I had heard about the church before, but my husband and I decided to visit. And I was being encouraged to visit by Jeremiah. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He used to do my hair all the time. And, I just kind of love him. He's like a son. But he invited me. Come on, you got to go. So we decided to go and visit. We liked what we saw. We came back. We did leave for a moment, but we went somewhere else because we wasn't sure. And, you just didn't want to jump in right away and say, oh, this is it. This is where I want to be.
Sure.
So I wanted to make sure I prayed
time.
about it. Your husband have to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable. And we went somewhere else for 30 days. And we knew for a fact that we had already said, okay, if this is where we're supposed to be, God is going to send a message. And that Pastor Glenn called us, didn't know us, had just met us a few times. And he told us what he had seen and heard and how he felt. And we let that be our confirmation. So we were there until the revolution was no longer.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing because our very first show was a dedication to Pastor Jamone Glenn and Erica Glenn because so much happened there. And like you went back to that moment, I think that's very, very important that you started there because that was the start of a lot of things.
I know, a lot of relationships.
A lot of people. There was so much growth.
So much.
And so when I first saw you, you were amazing as far as her dress, very immaculate. And there's a reason why we decided to use this as a backdrop. My closet, right? Because Lillie is also a fashionista, as I mentioned. And so I thought it was appropriate for us to switch it up and do our conversation here.
Right.
So moving right along, you were in this fantastic career at Still Case. And so something happened, right? A few years.
Yeah, I was there 29 and a half years, almost 30 years. And at that time, they were doing cuts and stuff. And lo and behold, I was taking care of my mom and my sister. They moved in with me 5 years prior. And I said, I couldn't keep doing what I was doing to take care of them too. So when that came available, I was happy. And I departed from Still Case. And while I was taking care of my mom and sister, they both died within 2 months of each other. And it was a tough time, but I knew what my assignment was. I knew when I was a little girl that it was me who was going to be the one to take care of my mom. And I knew that. So I was prepared mentally and emotionally. So I did. I spent that time taking care of my mother. And, I would tell her on a regular, all you have to do is wake up. I got the rest. You get up. I got you. We laughed about it. We played about it. And my mother was a strong woman. She was one of those women where anyone that knew her had to love her or something had to be wrong with them because she brought out the best in everybody. She saw you. She made sure that what's that word that young people say? She was aware of your presence and she made sure that you knew that about her and yourself. She wanted you to think the best of yourself. And I think that kind of rubbed off on me a lot, just watching her. My mom raised us without a dad. My dad left when I was 4. And my mother had 14 children. She birthed 14 children. Amazing. And she adopted 7 on top of that. But just a little bit about my mom. She inspired me to be a strong woman. She inspired me to work. She always used to say in a joking way, what are you talking about retiring? Moses didn't retire. I think retiring is when God decides to retire us. And I think I live with that. And that's why I never stop. So there's something else for me to do. There's something else for me to learn. And you got to remember, Renee, I'm sorry.
No.
Let me straighten this out. I call her Nay, and I was trying not to call her Nay because she's like a little sister to me. But you got to remember, you inspired me. You challenged me when I didn't want to be challenged. When I got done taking care of mom, putting her to rest, you just was on me like, oh my God, this girl is not going to give me a break. I felt like I needed a break, but she didn't give me time for that. She said, you should be doing what I'm doing. She was a real estate manager at a real estate company, and she wanted me to try it out. And I have a passion for my people. I've always felt that, our people are not doing well because they don't know. And I think that if God allowed me to be a voice to let them know, I'm going to do that any kind of way I can. So when she encouraged me to study for the test, I became an insurance agent as well. And I worked with her in a beautiful company, love it, still do it. And after that, it just wasn't enough. I was touching lives, I believe. I think I created quite a few, met quite a few families. And then after that, Emma again, knocking on my door. we have to do some other stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this girl don't stop.
Well, before we go into the next one, let's talk a little bit about your role in the insurance. And I do want to go back even a step further because our parents, our mom, and how you took care of your mom and your sister. And I think that's deserving of everyone knowing that sometimes when you're walking along, you have to stop and pause, and you may have to pour into someone else. And that's what you did. And your purpose is still, I think it's still one purpose. I guess so too. It's just seasons. I think so that was your season to care, for your mom and your sister. And you did it so gracefully. They did not go without anything, and they were very well taken care of.
But even with that said, you always have questions. You always think, I could have done more, I should have done this, I could have done that. We always do that. And we can always do that. But I do know without a shadow of a doubt that when my mom, when I laid her to rest, I was at peace.
Amen.
I did everything that I know I was supposed to do. And, and I'm okay. I was okay when it was time for her to go.
It was a beautiful time to see that interaction. I had lost my mom, and
I know,
wanted to care for her in the same way. And so I know, and I did she came and lived with me for 6 months. So I do understand all
Yep.
of that. So I know that's your heart. And
Yep.
so when I stepped into the role of insurance, I wanted you to join in because I knew you also had a heart for people. And that type of work was extended to the community because
Yes.
we saw something that maybe they didn't know,
I know.
and we wanted to share that information with them. And
Yeah, I
so
know.
once you came on, I was a partner for New York Life.
Yeah.
Shout out to New York Life. And so you're still there.
I'm still
Isn't
there.
that something? Okay, I left New York Life in 2023. I started in 2012, so I was there for 11 years, and you're still there. So when you talk about multiple streams of income, so you're at New York Life, and then you were about to go into the next career. So what
Yes.
career is that?
Well, I was
And how that came
encouraged-
about?
I was encouraged to take a look at this job called subbing. You know, and I did my research because I am big on research. I believe in finding out things about stuff. And I was looking at these different schools. Where should I go to sub? Okay, do I want to be a sub? Let me check it out. Just check it out. And I did check it out. I went to Kentwood Public Schools, you know, junior high. I did even some elementary. And one day I got a call and someone asked me to go to Ottawa Hills.
Ottawa Hills.
My kids graduated from Ottawa Hills.
Okay.
I graduated from Creston. And I'm like, okay, such a bad rap. I went to Ottawa as a sub, and I was working in special ed department. And I had my own class and all that stuff. And I fell so hard in love with those kids. And all the hype and all the stuff that people said, I just dismissed it right away. Those kids I felt safer at Ottawa Hills. I live in Caledonia. Good old Caledonia. I felt safer walking the hallways and the streets of that area than I did my own neighborhood. Those kids loved on me. They treated me like I was their grandma. They would, if anybody even swore in my presence, they said, hold up. That's Miss McGregory. You watch yourself. So I don't let people tell you things about a place unless you check it out for yourself.
You've always said that.
And I've always believed
even
that.
about
I cannot
people
stand
and
that.
everything.
Don't listen to people's mouth. You know what? Experience it for yourself.
And I know when you told me about those stories, because I was a little slow at it, right? Because we went through that training together.
Yeah.
But you stepped right into it, and I did not.
And I kept calling you and saying, all right, come on, you got to do this. Now you're doing it.
And again, you kind of led that. I may have led going into the
getting in
insurance.
it. But I kind of pushed you to, come on now, we're going to do this
so
together.
we're excited about doing that, and you as well. Tell us just more about that, because it's not just you started as a substitute, right? And then you moved into a permanent
Full-time
position.
teacher,
So
yes.
tell us about that and how that all happened.
Oh, gosh, that was so weird. It feels like forever ago, but at graduation, I went to the kids' graduation, and I'm thinking this is going to be the end of my assignment, right? And I ran into a young man there that offered me a position. Sort of, I don't know if you say offered, but he told me about this opportunity that they were going to be having at Ottawa. And he said, I think you'll be a great fit. You love people. You have a hunger and thirst for seeing kids do well. And you have a history of hospitality. And then I'm like, yeah. You know, I did hospitality at the Revolution. I did hospitality at my family's restaurant. So I did hospitality so often that people just kind of put that on me.
And we forgot about that. You an entrepreneur too.
Yeah, own a business. Yeah.
All right, owned a business
Yeah.
as well. This is all after retirement. You guys, come
Well,
on
remember,
now.
I never really retired. But, you know,
Right,
people
but
would
I
say
mean,
that,
after the official. because
Exactly.
That's
The-
the society,
the big deal.
right?
Right. After-
Society tells you work until this age and you retire. So you
Right.
formally did that.
I did that.
But then
I did all that.
you came back and you did all these other things. So
because it needed to be done. It's kind of like, you said something a few weeks ago that really kind of touched me. It says, you know, sometimes it's kind of like marriage. I don't know if you ever talked to someone that's been married and not married anymore, but this is what it reminded me of. It's kind of like you have a job because you have to have a job. You got to work, and you love what you do because you're good at it. But that doesn't mean that was that purposeful job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I walked into Ottawa, when I saw the effects and the things that were happening around me, I felt like I can breathe.
Right.
I can see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like you plant something in the ground, you can see it growing.
Yeah.
And there's a different feeling it gives you. It makes you feel like, okay, I'm getting it, God. I understand now. I understand what you want me to do. And then I say, as long as you want me to do this, I'm going to try to hang in there. Because some days I'd be like, oh, no, I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up.
Right.
You know, my leg hurt.
But
I don't want to get up.
when you do go and you see.
But no, the minute I get up and get in the bathroom, it's over. I'm ready. I'm all hyped.
The expression on those children's face, they're looking for you because they need what you have.
And I pray and hope they need what I have, but I too need what they have to
Exactly.
offer.
It's reciprocal.
Yes.
So that's one of the questions. Like, did you ever, because you worked in a career, did you ever feel like now that you're in this career that maybe this should have been the first career, or you just understand that there was the process?
I never desired that. I can't really say it because I've always wanted to be a buyer of merchandise, like a person that buys clothes fashionably and bring them into a place and bless people with them, dress them, make them look good, make them feel good about themselves. I've always believed that since I was a little girl. I've always wanted to do that.
And you did that.
And I did that for second, but in a furniture way.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I really I thank God for the opportunity to work there and learn what I've learned. And because I was traveling, I worked with engineers, I worked with people, and I was in the community a lot, you know, in different cities, different states. But that was like just the beginning of it, I think. It was almost like, okay, I was just watering it. And then when I started selling insurance and I saw families being educated. They were, you know, like, because I remember when I was little, Mama had insurance. My mom always had insurance. But it was almost like I think they called it a burial policy.
That's what they called it.
But when we were out there in the field, we were educating our people to say, it's an investment. Insurance shouldn't even be called life insurance. It should be called
generational
transfer
of
wealth. Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
And we were bringing that and that made me feel good. And I saw lights come on in young people's eyes. And even to this day, I ran into some of my clients at Jerry's open house. And they were talking about, I thank you so much for doing this. You know, because I was touching young families, kids, and they didn't understand why they needed to put insurance on babies and stuff. But now some people realize that.
And that's what when I started working there, and I know you've had to experience that too, it's like, it's really going to hit you when you have to deliver that first check, that death check where somebody has passed away and you now made a difference that their families can continue to live the way that they were living when the person before they passed away. So it was so important that we saw that. So throughout this whole conversation, I know you've mentioned God, and I know how important God is to you. Share a little bit about your faith and that journey in the walk.
He's everything. I mean, everything I do, I go to God first, and I listen, and I pay attention. You know, it's kind of like, I know when I do something, it's something that he's given me a blessing to do. It's almost like, you know, he's released me to do it. And I can tell when he released me to do something versus me doing it. Because, you know, sometimes you want to do your own thing. But I can tell because I see his blessing. I see it multiplies. I see it grows. And this is not something to make you think highly of me. But when God tells me to do something, when I have an ask, it just flows in. And people don't understand that. And they say, well, how can you get people to do stuff so easily? I say, because they've already been told what they need to do. I'm just the one that's going out there and just being there to deliver it. God has already spoken to the people. It's had nothing to do with me.
Because what you've done is you sought him first.
Exactly. And I'm just a person that delivers it, or how can I say, help them carry it out. You know, maybe that's what it is.
And that's what you did even when I first started at New York Life, and how you referred people and helped build the practice. And I want to thank you for that, you know, publicly, because as a result of that catapulted me into the role of a partner because I had done well, and you came along and did the same.
Right. It's just a little push every now and then, and we all need that.
You came along and did the same thing I did. You got the awards, you went on the trips, all of that. So just amazing, and how you oversee as well.
It's amazing that God put us together at the time that He put us together.
That we needed that in our lives.
I know you lost your mom. I lost my mom.
Yeah.
You had lost your sister. It's like, wow.
It was so much going on. And another thing too that was pretty amazing as well is your fashion sense. I'm like, you worked for, who did you work for?
Lee's in Village, yeah.
And
Talbots.
Right. And you kind of introduced me to different stores. Banana Republic.
Right. Naturally, I'm going to introduce you to
I
stuff.
never went into, and then what's the other one that?
J. Crew, those are some of my signature
And the other
stores.
Talbots?
And
Okay.
Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you stayed in
So
Macy's all the time.
You got to have a little conservative mix in all you do. You just can't be all trending all the time.
And I love how you have your signature sunglasses. You have she has a whole collection of sunglasses.
Don't tell everybody.
Shh. Okay. And then you also, coats. You love coats.
Yeah. Love coats.
Even when I did the fashion with Asher Collection, you was a part of it.
Right. Support. It's called support. You support your friends.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to go into a few fun questions.
Okay.
Who is your favorite gospel artist?
What's her name? He knows my name. What's her name? Tasha.
Tasha.
That's one of them. I have so many. I love CC. I love that family. But Tasha, she ministers to me. It's something about when I'm in a downward kind of spiral kind of thing. If I put her music on, it just kind of lifts me. And, it's almost like, okay, God, I got you.
And do you have it on repeat too?
Yes. And sometimes I go to bed. I have my iPad in the bed with me. My husband hates it, but I do. And I have my earplugs, my ear things on, because I don't want to hear what he's watching, and I don't want him to hear what I'm listening to. So I put the music on. I fall asleep like that. Yeah,
okay.
It does.
And what about your favorite Bible verse?
I'm trying to, if my people will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked way, we forget the turning part.
Yeah.
And I say that a lot because I say it to myself. We can't just, if my people will seek my face, we got to do more than seek his face. We got to not keep doing it. We got to change.
You're right.
We can't just keep doing the same thing and expecting something different. It's going to keep on being the same.
Exactly.
So,
that's a good one. And we have to have that relationship. And one of my favorites is delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. So those are two to me verses that can kind of complement each other. So what about your favorite type of food that you like to eat?
Salads.
And what is your favorite restaurant? Do you have a favorite restaurant?
I used to think I did, but lately they're not really good. Being in hospitality and tourism, that's what I teach. I'm very critical. I don't mean it in a bad way, but I have such high expectations. And then when they don't live up to that expectation, it's kind of like, I'm not going to waste my time and my money on something like this when I can just do better at home.
So how do you make that salad to be all that it can be? Because if you say a salad, I know it has to be a supreme salad of some sort.
Well, I don't know about the supreme because I like veggies more than anything. I like veggies, raw veggies. How would I say? What my favorite salad is, I take a cucumber and I dice it up. I take a tomato, firm tomato, hard tomato, and dice it up. I take an onion and dice it up. And then I use my salad dressing, Italian. I think the one I like is Essence. It's an Italian dressing.
Okay.
And I may put a few bacon bits on it, but it has to be the right bacon bits. Because it can't be, it's a brand, and I'm trying not to even say the brand, but it's a certain brand.
Well, I'm not surprised because you are a brand conscious
Well, I don't
woman.
need. I don't think that's the right way to describe me. I don't
No,
do
no,
brands.
not.
No, let me explain. I don't do brands. I do quality.
Oh yeah, of
So
course.
I don't just go into a Meijer or some store and get just anything. I have tried it. I've tested it, and it's proven to be
Right.
okay.
And
And that's the same way I am about fashion and
Right,
clothing.
right. There's nothing wrong with it, is what I'm saying. Like,
oh no, I didn't take it that way. I didn't take it
yeah.
that way. But what I'm saying is though, it's something that you have tested. It's gotta.
Yeah.
And if you go to my closet, you can see things I've had when I worked at Lee's. And if you walk the streets of Grand Rapids, people would still be screaming it like, "Oh my God," because it's past
It's
the
quality,
test of time.
right? And it does transcend
Right.
to
Exactly.
decade through decades.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And that's what I like.
I really like that. So you've always been complimented on how you look, very young, right? For
I don't know
a
about that.
74-year-old. Give us at least one beauty tip that you could. I think one is the fact that you eat vegetables and fruits.
I love fruits.
That's alone will help.
But I junk out. I junk out sometimes.
You junk out a little bit, but I think that is very important for
Right.
keeping your skin looking,
I like
youthful.
fresh fruits. I live in Caledonia, so in the summer I go to the markets and I get like more fresh vegetables and stuff all the time. And what else? I don't like bread a lot. And I could do without meat. I do eat chicken. I do eat steak. I do eat things like that. But it's not like mandatory. You know what I mean? I can have a meal without that.
Do you use any type of cream or anything? I know you don't want to maybe say a brand or whatever.
I'm fine with that. I am a philosophy girl. That's the products that I use for my skin, for my body. It's natural. It has scripture on the bottom when you buy it. When I fell in love with it, that's the first time that attracted me to it because it had stuff on there about the word. And then I started research. And see, that's another thing about me. As old as I am, I research everything. I research ingredients. I research things because I want to know why, what, who did it. Because, things is connected to things, like
Right.
food is connected to something, medicines that we take. Find out about these things before we put it in our body. I don't like, I'm a little picky about like tattoos and things like that. So, I don't want to get on that soapbox.
Well, that's a good thing to do because it keeps your mind sharp. As we get older,
Yeah, right.
I mean,
And that's why I
had-
watch movies that has a subtitle.
word, yeah.
Right. So I read it because I read a long time ago, though, we have to feed our brain. And the only way to do that is do something different. So as I look at foreign movies, I get to learn some of that language. And it helps me probe a little harder to understand the movie. So I like to watch the movie. I like to do it by myself because, I don't have to tell my husband what's going on because he don't want to read it. So I like to watch it by myself, and it's like, it's fun. And they are the Korean people are so expressionable. They like, when you watch a movie, if you watch one of their movies, I guarantee you'll be hooked.
I'll get hooked.
You will
Okay,
because
okay.
they put all their emotions in what they do.
Okay. And I know you've shared that with me, and I know just learning about another culture is good to do. So I love the fact that,
And that's what I teach my kids.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
keeping your brain sharp because, and I was gonna say, dementia is real.
It is.
Alzheimer's
It sure
is
is.
real,
It
and
is.
so we want to make sure that we're keeping ourselves in a way where
That's right.
we can be proactive, when we're getting older. So what I like for you to do is just share with the audience, look right into the camera and just speak to them about if anybody is in their 50s, 60s, or whatever, 70s, and they think it's over. Speak to them to let them know it's not over, that God still, as long as they have breath, there's still purpose left. And what would you say?
How would I phrase that? It's never over until the Lord says it's over. And I believe that I'm not going to be sitting there waiting on it to come and get me. You're going to have to catch me. I'm not going to just sit there and wait on death. So I believe that if God has given me life, he gave it to me for a reason. It's not for me to sit on. It's for me to go out into the world and do something. Whether I'm doing gardening or talking to kids, I learned so much from those students at my school. I learned so much from my grandkids being around London and Gianna and Little Rashi and Ava and all those kids. They teach me something every day. I know how to use technology just like they do. I use AI every day. I am not a typical 74-year-old woman. I am not illiterate when it comes to computers. And the only way you're going to not be those things is to get out there and involve yourself. Get involved with kids. I have a girls group. At my age, I have a girls group. 20-some girls come to my girls group every other Wednesday. I love on those girls. We have real talk. I invite people in to come in and talk to these girls. It's kind of like I keep my hands in something, but it's not about me. It's all about what I can do to be a blessing to someone else. That's it.
Truly, truly amazing. I'm so happy that God allowed our paths to cross and that you're so right in the children and that we have to keep those types of people in our lives and around because they help us, the younger generation.
They do.
And again, you always have inspired me, and I so appreciate that our paths have crossed and that we're able to live life together and feed off of each other. Pastor Glenn told us once we should have someone 20 years older and 20 years younger walking with us because we can learn from each other. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
So again, thank you for watching our episode today where we got a chance to talk to someone who said, I'm not done. I'm going to really just be starting again after 50. Thank you for watching the Ascend Room Conversations.
Keep it steady. Real steady.